My sister-in-law, Charlotte, was a hopeless romantic. She married my brother with a fortune that could buy a small country, and, just like that, our family was living the high life. But my brother, Kevin, was a fool. Instead of clinging to the woman who gave him everything, he decided to divorce her for his college sweetheart, his one that got away. Charlotte responded by beating the ever-living crap out of my cheating brother. My parents lost their minds. How could a woman hit her husband? That's just not right, they fumed. They called me, the regional MMA champion, to come home and teach Charlotte a lesson. The moment I stepped through the door, I swayed and dropped to one knee, wrapping my arms around Charlotte's leg. "Hey, Charlotte," I chirped. "You already beat up my brother. Fair is fair, you can't hit me too." I had just won the city championship that morning when my mom called, ordering me home to deal with my sister-in-law. She was hysterical, claiming Charlotte had assaulted Kevin. "It's a disaster," she wailed into the phone. "What kind of woman hits her own husband? If word gets out, the Miller family name will be mud in this town." In a nightmare that haunted my sleep, the one that felt like a memory, I didn't know the full story. I just did what my family asked and helped them hold Charlotte down. I watched, frozen, as my brother slapped her across the face. Then my mother slapped her. My father stood off to the side, clapping and cheering. He spat at her. "Who the hell do you think you are? Wives hitting husbands now. In my day, it was the man who did the hitting. You've had our family's child now, so you better learn to tuck your tail between your legs and know your place." Charlotte's eyes, full of heartbreak, were locked on me. She thought I'd come home to back her up. Instead, I was the final straw that broke her. Before I could process what was happening, she clutched her newborn baby to her chest, turned, and jumped from the second-story balcony. They were both dead on impact. My mother had fed me a whole story, that Charlotte was cheating, that she wanted a divorce, that the baby wasn't even Kevin's. She said when Kevin confronted her for proof, Charlotte was the one who got violent. Mom even claimed Charlotte had pointed a finger in Kevin's face and screamed, "Without me, you and your whole broke-ass family would still be nothing. I'm done with you. I have someone else. Sign the papers and get the hell out of my life." I never questioned my mother's words. I truly believed Charlotte had said those things. That's why I'd rushed home, hoping to calm her down, to help them sort things out. I was sure it was all a misunderstanding because my sister-in-law wasn't that kind of person. Turns out, my mother could lie to me, too. Less than a month after Charlotte's funeral, the house was sold for a fraction of its worth. And then, my brother married someone new. It was his college classmate, his long-lost love. Back then, Kevin couldn't afford a ring or a down payment on a house, so she dumped him and married a 50-year-old CEO, becoming an instant stepmom. When the CEO went bankrupt, she divorced him so fast it would give you whiplash. Then, she noticed Kevin was suddenly the head of a successful company, driving luxury cars and living in a mansion. So, she slithered her way back into his life. When the one that got away comes crawling back, who could say no? Just like in my nightmare, when I walked in the door, my mom ran up to me, tears streaming down her face. "Maya, it's awful. Your sister-in-law hit your brother. Go help him. Teach that witch a lesson. She's the one fooling around, and she has the nerve to lay a hand on him." The exact same words as last time. Charlotte was trained in self-defense. My brother was no match for her. My dad, getting on in years, was afraid to get close, worried he'd get hit too. The second he saw me, he started barking orders. "Maya, get in there and restrain her. The woman's a psycho, attacking her own husband." Kevin's confidence surged. "Charlotte, my sister's back. She's an MMA champion. You hit me again, and I'll have her knock you out." I strode into the room. Charlotte's expression went cold. "You're going to help them?" Kevin smirked. "We're family. You think she's going to help you? Let go of me right now, Charlotte, or when my sister gets her hands on you, I won't be so nice." My parents rushed in behind him, ready to gloat. I raised my hand. I didn't bother looking at the triumphant expressions on my parents' faces. With a thud, I dropped to my knees. I hugged Charlotte's leg. "Charlotte," I said with a grin, "you already took care of them. That means you can't hit me, right?" The smug look on my brother's face shattered. He stared at me in disbelief. "Maya, you're an MMA champion. What the hell are you doing?" I kept one arm locked around Charlotte's leg and used the other to whip around and slap Kevin square across the face. "When Charlotte hits you, you take it. What are you whining for, you dog?" My parents stumbled back in shock. "You two get back here. Apologize to Charlotte." I yelled. "Maya, you ungrateful brat," my father roared. "Honey, we're your family. How can you side with her against us? Have you lost your mind?" my mother shrieked. Charlotte must not have expected this, because she let go of my brother. He immediately scrambled to his feet and tried to hide behind me. I reached back, grabbed him by the collar, and dragged him in front of Charlotte. Then I kicked the back of his knee. Get on your knees. Apologize to your wife. Maya, I'm your brother. That's why I'm only making you kneel. If you weren't, I'd break both your legs. Apologize, and if Charlotte doesn't forgive you, you get out of her house with nothing but the clothes on your back. Charlotte stared at me, her eyes filled with a stunned relief. It was obvious she knew that I knew everything. My dad glared at my mom, clearly blaming her for spilling the beans. My mom just mumbled, I didn't say anything. It wasn't Mom. I snapped. You really thought you could hide my brother's sleazy affair from me? He had a woman as amazing as Charlotte, and threw it all away for some washed-up flame from his past. Were you the star of some cheap drama? Kevin actually apologized, and for the moment, he didn't dare mention the word divorce. I turned to Charlotte. You want to divorce him? Just nod. I'll make sure my brother leaves with nothing. Not a single dime. Just do it, Charlotte, I thought. He doesn't love you. After you died, he married that woman, had 2 kids with her, and forgot you ever existed. For your sister's sake, Charlotte said quietly, I'll forgive you this time. I almost choked. What? Forgive him? I was ready to pack up my entire family and toss them to the curb. My brother later told me he'd been acting rashly and was grateful I'd stopped him. He said that when he thought about it, Charlotte had brought so much into his life, all her assets, their beautiful daughter, and he was incredibly happy. Leaving her would mean losing everything. He even thanked me, said I was clever for my age, that by hitting him in front of Charlotte, I'd soothed her anger and given him an out. He claimed my little performance had saved his marriage. I was speechless, but it was their marriage, and I couldn't interfere too much. What was strange, though, was my mother. After that day, she started acting furtive. Every morning, when she wanted to take out the trash, she'd carry a thermos with her. Once or twice, whatever. But it was every single day. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I followed her. She didn't leave our gated community. Instead, she went to another building on the property. I followed her upstairs and saw her knock on a door. When it opened, I saw Kevin's old flame, Jessica Vance. I'd recognize that woman even if she were reduced to ashes. In my past life, after she married my brother, she'd lorded her position over my parents, bullying them constantly. She claimed they were old and useless, a drain on the household finances, a waste of Kevin's money. Eventually, she kicked them out, sending them back to our small hometown. I don't know what poison she dripped into my brother's ear, but he cut off all contact with our parents after that. My mom would cry every day, talking about how good her first daughter-in-law had been. All I could say to them was 2 words, you deserved it. Not 10 minutes later, my mom came out of Jessica's apartment, beaming. When she saw me, she froze. Maya, what are you doing here? Mom, don't make me get physical with you, too. Tell me the truth. She instinctively took 2 steps back. Why are you always threatening to hit people? Even your own mother? Have you no shame? I clenched my fists. Fine, I'll just go beat it out of Jessica. That did it. My mom panicked and quickly blocked my way. A little bit of threatening, a little bit of wheedling, and she spilled everything. Jessica was pregnant. An ultrasound confirmed it was a boy. So Kevin had secretly rented an apartment for her right here in our community, so my mother could take care of her. I saw red. It's the 21st century. Are you still caught up in that we need a son nonsense? Don't get so worked up. It's not about preferring a boy. Your sister-in-law only wants 1 child, and she had a daughter, didn't she? You know how strong-willed Charlotte is. 1 kid means 1 kid. We weren't getting a second one from her. So when this sweet girl came along, willing to give your brother a son, why wouldn't we take the opportunity? Susan Miller, you're living in the dark ages and won't even admit it. So Charlotte's daughter isn't good enough? You had to have a boy, so you found someone else to pop one out? What? Does your son have a throne to inherit? Even if he did, Charlotte is the one who gave him the kingdom. You can't be this shameless. Sure, keep your voice down. You don't want the neighbors to hear. What's wrong with 1 boy and 1 girl? Look at me. I have you and your brother, and isn't our life wonderful? Oh, so you do know you have something to be ashamed of. I marched right up to the door and knocked. Jessica opened it, looking confused. When she saw my mom, her face broke into a sunny smile. Oh, Mrs. Miller, you're still here? And this is my daughter, Maya. You should go inside. It's nothing, we're fine. Maya, come in, come in. I've heard so much about you from your mom. Jessica grabbed my arm enthusiastically. I kept asking her when I could finally meet our family's MMA champion. Maya, the moment I saw you, I felt such a connection, like you were my own sister. I grabbed her hand right back. Well, no time like the present. Come on, I'll take you over to my brother's place right now. My sister-in-law happens to be home. You think I seem like a sister? Wait till you meet Charlotte. She's so warm, you'll feel like she's your big sister. In another life, you'd be kissing her ring and calling her ma'am. I was too strong for her. No matter how much she struggled or cried out, I dragged her down the stairs. My mom scurried behind me, yelping and trying to stop me, but she couldn't. Her only option was to call my dad and brother for help. The two of them came rushing over in a panic and met us at the bottom of our building's lobby. My dad was practically vibrating with rage. "You ungrateful girl. She's carrying my grandson, your own nephew." My mom stayed quiet. She could see the look on my face. I was ready to throw down. Jessica tried to wrench free and run to my brother, but I held her fast. "Kevin, help me. Your sister is hurting me," she sobbed. My brother's heart melted. "Maya, let go of Jessica right now. Can't you hear you're hurting her?" "I'll give you two choices," I said flatly. "Either you take her to get an abortion and cut off all contact, or you take her upstairs with you to see my sister-in-law." "Maya, are you trying to ruin my life? What do you get out of turning this family into a complete mess?" my brother accused me. "You're the one who had a perfectly good life and decided to screw it all up, not me. I think you've had it easy for so long you've forgotten who gave us everything we have." I started dragging Jessica toward our apartment, ignoring her wails. We hadn't even made it to the elevator when the doors dinged open. It was Charlotte, holding my niece. Jessica's eyes went wide. She tore her arm from my grasp and dove behind my brother. My parents quickly formed a human shield in front of them, terrified Charlotte would see. "What's going on?" Charlotte asked. Kevin forced a cheerful smile. "Honey, I just ran into an old classmate. I was just inviting her over." Before I could say a word, my mom let out a cry, clutched her head, and collapsed onto the floor. "Mom!" Charlotte rushed forward, her concern overriding everything else. She was completely distracted, trying to get help. In the chaos, my brother grabbed Jessica and ran. My dad seized the opportunity to pull me away, hissing in my ear, "If you destroy this family, I'll disown you. From now on, you're no daughter of mine. Fine by me. Saves me the money on your nursing home." In my past life, after Jessica kicked my father out, he didn't have enough money to even eat meat. When he got sick, he couldn't afford a doctor and just toughed it out until he couldn't stand it anymore. Only then did he call me. Back then, he had also disowned me for Kevin and Jessica's sake. He'd said the exact same words. By the time I got to the hospital, he'd had a stroke and was paralyzed. My brother and Jessica never showed up, not once. I paid all the medical bills, but all he could talk about were his son and his grandson. He told me that after he died, it would be useless for a daughter to pay respects at his grave. He wouldn't be able to receive them. Only his son and grandson could ensure he lived well in the afterlife. I told him, "They don't care about you while you're alive. You really think they're going to give a damn after you're dead? Dream on." Not long after, my mother passed away from malnutrition. My paralyzed father was left completely alone. I worked during the day and came home to take care of him at night. Only on his deathbed did he finally understand how unreliable his precious son and daughter-in-law were. He clung to my hand, sobbing, "I failed your sister-in-law. She was such a good person, and we destroyed her. Daughter, please, never marry into a family like ours. We're so traditional and biased we can't see straight. We failed her so badly." The sister-in-law he was talking about was my poor, departed Charlotte. And me? Between supporting my parents and caring for my paralyzed dad, the man I was supposed to marry broke up with me. I remember his parting words clearly. "You're carrying so much baggage. What man would want that? Even if I love you, I can't sign up for a family like yours. I thought your brother being rich might help us out, but he won't even take care of his own parents. We can't count on him for anything. Looking at your brother, I see how marrying the wrong woman can ruin a family for generations. I'm not taking that risk with you." My mother was perfectly fine. The moment she got to the hospital and heard she'd have to pay, she sat bolt upright like she'd been zapped with a cattle prod. She refused to be admitted. It was Charlotte who was running around, frantic, terrified something was seriously wrong with her. She coaxed and pleaded until my mom finally agreed to a full physical. By the time we got home, it was 8 o'clock at night. Charlotte put the baby to bed and then dove back into her work. It was after midnight when she finally finished. She found me sitting on the sofa and came over. "What's wrong? You look upset." I didn't know how to begin. My brother had just caused a huge scene about a divorce, and Charlotte had already forgiven him. If I told her about Jessica now, what would she do? My parents had already cornered me, using every threat and plea in the book to keep me quiet. "Charlotte, what do you even see in my brother?" She smiled and gently poked my forehead. "When you find the right person, you won't be able to explain it either. You just love them." She was a hopeless romantic, starved for affection. Charlotte's parents had divorced when she was young, and neither of them wanted her. Her grandparents raised her, and when they passed, they left her a massive inheritance. She never lacked for money, only love. He cheated on you. Why did you forgive him? He said he'd change. He promised me he'd cut off contact with the other woman and come back to his family. I'm giving him one more chance. Maya, I trust your brother. He won't lie to me again. The other woman's name is Jessica Vance. She's pregnant, and she's living right here in our community. My brother rented the apartment for her. My mom is taking care of her, and my dad knows all about it. I could see Charlotte's world collapsing all over again. The man she loved so deeply wasn't just a cheater. He was a scumbag. She had already talked herself into forgiving his infidelity. Kevin had promised he wouldn't lie again, that he'd already broken things off with the other woman. Charlotte didn't believe him unconditionally. She was just too in love with him. She loved him so much that even when he was unfaithful, she chose to look the other way, to bury her head in the sand. I hadn't wanted to tell her. I was afraid she'd break, that she'd do what she did in my nightmare and take her own life. But as another woman, I couldn't stand by and let my family deceive her like this. I expected her to scream, to fly into a rage, to beat up my brother again, and then move on to my parents. I had a plan. If she started swinging, I'd hold him down for her. I didn't care if it was my own parents. If God himself came down, I'd hold him down for Charlotte. But that's not what happened. After going to see Jessica for herself, Charlotte calmly asked to speak with my brother. They talked in his office all night. My parents and I stood watch outside the door for hours. My dad chewed me out relentlessly. My mom wanted to join in, but was too scared, so she just stood there muttering prayers under her breath. I told her, save it. After everything you've done, God isn't listening. She almost fainted from anger. Looking back, my parents weren't overtly sexist when I was growing up. But if you looked closely, their actions always showed a subtle bias toward their son. We weren't poor. The house my parents had worked their whole lives to buy was being rented out. That house was in my brother's name, but I was the one helping to pay the mortgage. I used to give them $3,000 a month. My mom said she was saving it for me. That would be my dowry when I got married. Later, when I asked for the money, I found out every cent had gone toward paying off the mortgage on my brother's house. When I confronted them, they were completely unapologetic. We're a family. Why draw lines between yours and mine? We raised you. What's wrong with you giving something back? Besides, it's your brother's house. It's petty for siblings to count every penny. If your brother does well, the whole family does well. When we're gone, you'll need someone to have your back when you're with your husband's family, won't you? They made it sound so reasonable, as if every decision was for my benefit. Later, they started asking me for money again, this time to renovate the old family house back in our hometown. Their excuse was even more self-serving. When you bring your husband home to visit, you'll need a decent place to stay. The house is so run down, his family will look down on you. We're mainly doing this for you. Your brother has a house in the city. He won't be coming back to stay. So, naturally, you should be the one to pay for it. I asked, the new deed for the house is being drawn up. Will it be in my name? My father slammed a bowl on the table. Don't be ridiculous. Who ever heard of putting the family home in a daughter's name? Of course it will be in your brother's name. It has to go to the son to make sure the house stays in the Miller family. But aside from all that, my parents were actually pretty good to me. When I was little, my mom bought me whatever I wanted. When I did poorly on my middle school entrance exams, my dad pulled strings to get me into the city's best high school. He said our family had to produce 2 college graduates. We couldn't lose to the Johnsons next door. Mr. Johnson and my dad were mortal enemies. The Johnsons had 2 sons, and both were in college. The year they got their acceptance letters, Mr. Johnson threw a 3-day block party, complete with banners and noisemakers. They didn't have enough space, so they set up tables in our front yard. My dad refused to let them, and Mr. Johnson just laughed in his face. Hey, when your kids both get into college, you can have a party too. You can use my front yard for free. That is, if your kids can even get in. My dad was so furious, he couldn't sleep for a month. That month was hell for me. He hovered over me every night while I did my homework, standing right behind my chair until I was finished. He wouldn't eat or sleep until I was done. His constant presence just made me more anxious, and I couldn't focus. I was up until 2 or 3 in the morning every night. Did my dad love me? I think so, but it was definitely tied up with his pride. The next morning, my brother was already gone. I had no idea where he went. But when he looked at me, his eyes were full of hatred, as if I was the one who had destroyed his family. My dad left too. The sight of me gave him indigestion, and he had to fight the urge to hit me. He couldn't win a fight against me, but I wouldn't actually hit him back, either. That left my mom sneaking around the kitchen, cooking something. None of us knew the outcome of Charlotte and Kevin's talk. Charlotte's eyes were red and swollen. She sat by the crib, staring at my niece with a hollow, vacant expression. She looked like she could shatter at any moment. Maya, did your SAT scores come in yet? That was the first thing she said. My own eyes immediately welled up, and I had to fight back tears. Charlotte had been married to my brother for 3 years, the same 3 years I was in high school. My parents' allowance was barely enough to get by, but Charlotte always sent me extra money. I loved MMA, but my parents disapproved. They thought it was a pointless distraction from my studies. But Charlotte said, how is it not important? If she gets good, no one will ever dare to bully her. And if she ends up marrying some abusive jerk, she'll be able to protect herself. There's no harm in a girl learning a few extra skills to defend herself. Whatever it costs, I'll cover it. Just like that, she paid for 3 years of my training in one lump sum. My brother had protested. That's a lot of money. What if she quits? It'll all be wasted. But Charlotte had replied, exactly. With that much money invested, she'll know it would be a waste to quit. That way, she won't give up halfway through. I went to the city's top high school, filled with kids from wealthy families. I was the girl from a small town who'd barely scraped by on the entrance exam. My clothes, my accent, everything about me was different. All the other kids had smartphones. I didn't. When I asked my parents for one, my dad accused me of being materialistic. When Charlotte found out, she took me shopping that very day. She bought me a new phone and a whole new wardrobe. She told my parents, if the other kids have it and we can afford it, Maya should have it too. Her grades aren't the best, and she's new to the city. We can't let her feel like an outsider, or it will destroy her confidence. If we couldn't afford it, she wouldn't complain. But we can, so why not? We have the means. There's no reason to pretend we're poor. Whenever Charlotte had free time, she would leave work early to pick me up from school. She'd pull up in her Porsche, lean against the sleek car in her high heels, and wave at me, her smile bright and radiant. Maya, over here. My classmates were always so envious. Wow, Maya, is it your family? I had no idea you were rich. You're so low-key. When are you going to invite us over to your house? I'll admit it, my ego soared in those moments. When I first started at that school, everyone made fun of me for being a country bumpkin. Everything our family had, Charlotte gave us. Everything I had came from her. I would never forget that. I told Charlotte my SAT scores were great and that I was definitely getting into my dream university. She smiled and tapped the space between my eyebrows. The results aren't even out yet, and you're that confident? If you get into Northwood University, I'll pay for your tuition and all your living expenses. A sob escaped my lips. I dropped to my knees and hugged her legs. Charlotte, when you kick them out, please don't kick me out too. I want to stay with you forever. She let out a laugh and stroked my head. What niece stays with her aunt forever? Are you never planning on getting married? Nope. I'll marry you. Charlotte burst into loud, genuine laughter. What nonsense are you talking about? Charlotte decided to divorce my brother. At first, Kevin refused. He promised over and over that he would break things off with Jessica. Charlotte asked him one simple question. What about the baby in her belly? Kevin said, it's still my child. After the baby is born, my parents can raise it somewhere else. I'll never bring it home to upset you. It'll just be an illegitimate kid. It can't compare to our daughter. Charlotte laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. She was adamant about the divorce. Kevin thought she was being unreasonable. He had already compromised, and Jessica just wanted to have his child. She wasn't trying to steal Charlotte's position as his legal wife. What had Jessica done wrong? She just loved him too much. Who would choose to be the other woman and be judged by everyone? But Jessica was willing to do it for him. Why couldn't Charlotte just be more understanding? This time, Charlotte was so furious she was ready to physically attack him. Kevin bolted out of the house. A few days later, he agreed to the divorce on one condition. He wanted half of her assets. Charlotte didn't want to waste any more time on a scumbag. She liquidated the value of the house, the cars, and her company shares and gave him a cash settlement. She didn't want any of it. The only thing she wanted was me. My brother couldn't have been happier to get rid of me. In his eyes, I was a traitor, a disloyal leech. With a massive amount of capital, Kevin left the company in Charlotte. He promptly bought another condo in the same community for Jessica to live in while she awaited the baby's birth. The broke loser my brother once had become a rich man through marriage and divorce. I was furious, but Charlotte just said, he's still your brother, the father of my child. Our journey together is over. There's no point in dragging it out. The fact that he agreed to the divorce is enough. Plenty of men would have fought it for years. Money is just an object. I can always make more. She truly saw money as unimportant. She'd never been without it, so she never understood its power. But I couldn't be as calm as she was. I was seething. I started taking my niece for walks around the community every day. I made sure our path conveniently crossed with Jessica's whenever she was out for a stroll. Well, if it isn't a resident homewrecker, my brother divorced my sister-in-law for you, and you have the gall to live in her neighborhood? Are you afraid people won't know you're the other woman? Jessica turned purple with rage. Maya, will you ever stop? I'm your sister-in-law now, too. Is it right for you to be so biased? My sister-in-law? Who do you think you are? The mistress wants to be my sister-in-law now? Are you trying to make me laugh to death so you can inherit my $3,000 credit card debt? Jessica looked like she was about to explode. Your brother has $30 million. You think I care about your $3,000 in debt? You're his sister. Is this how you treat me? If my brother had $3,000 in debt instead of $30 million, you'd run faster than a spooked hog. You're really not afraid of telling the whole world why you're a mistress, are you? Jessica was truly at her breaking point. She refused to live in the community anymore. She threw tantrums, demanding Kevin sell the condo and move somewhere else. Now, the neighborhood Facebook group was buzzing. Everyone was talking about the mistress living in Building 3, Unit 1, Apartment 1203. And the condo was bought with the ex-wife's money. When the other women in the community heard that, they couldn't stand the thought of having someone like her living among them. The group chat filled with scorn and ridicule. These days, homewreckers are so brazen. Absolutely no shame. Using the ex-wife's money to buy a place in the same community. How can the wife stand it? Why hasn't she ripped her to shreds? If it were me, I'd have hired a marching band and put up a banner. That woman in 1203 is clearly shameless, so why show her any mercy? That man is pure trash. How does he spend that money without an ounce of guilt? If he had guilt, he wouldn't have cheated in the first place. When a man is ruthless, he's worse than a dog. The women in the group were fired up. There were thousands of messages trashing the mistress. The men in the group didn't dare say a word. Once the vitriol died down a bit, I posted a few photos. It was my dear brother, my dear mother, my dear father, and my dear mistress. The whole family is living with a mistress. The wife's child is being cared for by the wife's sister-in-law. This whole family is garbage, except for the sister-in-law. The homeowners, who had just started to calm down, erupted again. This family is so shameless. Oh my God, I'm so angry I'm going to go yell at her tomorrow. A whole family of psychos. Amazing that one sane person came out of it. I didn't have time to gossip anymore. I had my niece to look after. The nanny Charlotte hired had already made dinner, and we were just waiting for Charlotte to get home from work. We were halfway through our meal when there was a deafening bang on the door. Charlotte went to open it. Kevin stormed in and slapped her hard across the face. It happened so fast. By the time Charlotte recovered, Kevin was already hiding behind my dad. Charlotte Hayes, are you insane? You put my sister up to harassing Jessica. What the hell is wrong with you? We're divorced. Stay out of my business. Charlotte was a classy, well-mannered person who rarely raised her voice. She wasn't good with words in a fight. Stunned by my brother's shameless attack, she could barely stand. But Kevin just got worse. Nothing to say, huh? If you ever dare to have Maya bully Jessica again, I'll call the IRS and have her company audited until you go insane. I'll make your life a living hell. Kevin Miller, get out. Charlotte screamed, furious. But that shameless bastard wouldn't leave. Instead, Jessica appeared, sobbing, and gently pulled at my brother's arm. I'm sure she didn't mean to, Kevin. Let's just go. It's okay. I made your favorite barbecue chicken. Let's go home and eat before you make yourself sick from anger. Seeing Jessica looking so pitiful, Kevin's heart ached for her. Baby, don't worry. As long as I'm here, no one will ever bully you. He wrapped his arm around Jessica. I saw her nestle into his embrace and shoot a triumphant, defiant look at Charlotte. Charlotte had already worked a full day and hadn't even had a bite of food. And now she had to deal with this disgusting display. Before she could close the door, I grabbed a bucket. Charlotte, move. Splash. The entire contents of the bucket drenched Kevin and Jessica. Jessica shrieked, then gagged and retched. My brother licked his lips, and the taste, combined with the smell, made him realize something was wrong. He exploded, demanding to know what was in the bucket. I shrugged. Your daughter's poop and pee from today. My niece has been a little under the weather, so I was saving a sample to take to the doctor for analysis. But you guys can have the first taste. Figure out what's wrong? You think she has a fever. Kevin was apoplectic, but he was all bark and no bite. He knew he couldn't beat me in a fight. My dad, who had been quick to dodge, was even quicker to run. He was already standing by the elevator. You have a mistress, so I call out the mistress. What's the problem? You're allowed to have one, but as your sister, I'm not allowed to criticize her. Charlotte had nothing to do with this, so don't you dare try to pin it on her. And you, Jessica, you had the nerve to be a homewrecker, but you're afraid of a little gossip? You know it's wrong, but you did it anyway. Are you sick in the head? Jessica lost it. She was covered in filth and had just been publicly humiliated. To top it off, Charlotte let out a perfectly timed, derisive snort from the doorway. Then, our next-door neighbor heard the commotion and poked his head out. He looked at them and said, "Hey, isn't that the mistress from Building 3? Oh, so you live here." The man had just been coming out to take out his trash. His wife saw the tense atmosphere, immediately grabbed her husband, and pulled him back inside their apartment. Slam! Jessica burst into tears, turned, and fled. My dad held the elevator door open for her. She was the first one in. "Baby," Kevin yelled, chasing after her. He paused to scream back at me, "Maya, you're a real piece of work. I'm telling you, from this day forward, we're done. The Miller family doesn't have a daughter named Maya." Awesome. Couldn't have asked for a better gift. Charlotte slumped to the floor, completely drained. I helped her up, knowing that no words of comfort would be enough. "Charlotte," I was pissed off and needed to blow off some steam. "I hope you're not mad at me." She stroked my head. "Silly girl. This is adult stuff. Why are you getting involved? It's just going to upset you. I'm grown up now. I'll protect you." That day, Charlotte held me and cried her heart out. In the days that followed, life got really tough for Jessica. I posted the story of how she dumped my brother years ago to marry a 50-year-old CEO. The neighborhood Facebook group was eating it up, but the gossip spread further. Even my high school classmates heard about it. With final exams over, everyone had plenty of time for drama. Screenshots of the group chat went viral. All of Jessica's dirty laundry was being aired out. Her 50-year-old ex-husband even came forward, calling her a gold-digging, materialistic woman. He laughed at my brother for being a pathetic sucker who took her back. He also claimed that before my brother, Jessica had another affair with a rich kid, but his family wouldn't accept her. Even getting pregnant with his child couldn't get her through the door. To cap it all off, the ex-husband strongly implied that the baby in Jessica's belly probably wasn't my brother's. That comment sparked a memory from my past life. My parents had often remarked how their grandson looked nothing like them. My mom, who had no filter, once said right in front of Jessica, "How come my grandbaby doesn't look a thing like my son? Or you, for that matter?" Jessica's face had fallen instantly, and not long after, she convinced my brother to kick my parents out. Could it be true? Was the baby not my brother's? The rumors grew more intense. Soon, even my brother's colleagues at his new company knew. They were secretly mocking him, calling him the fall guy. Kevin started looking at Jessica with suspicion. Of course, Jessica knew what he was thinking. She resorted to tears, tantrums, and threatening suicide, claiming my brother didn't trust her and she might as well be dead. One night, she ran outside to jump off the building. But when the neighbors realized it was the mistress threatening to jump, they started heckling her from below. "Jump! Go on, jump! If you don't jump soon, I'm going home to bed. I'm tired of your performance." The police and fire department were called. My mother stood on the sidelines, wringing her hands and begging Jessica to come back inside, not to scare her precious grandson. They still wanted to believe the baby was theirs. After all, they'd spent the better part of a year waiting on her hand and foot. With the due date so close, they couldn't bear to let go. I intentionally brought Charlotte and my niece downstairs and found a prime spot to watch the show. My brother was on the balcony above, pleading desperately. "Baby, I was wrong. We could talk about this. Please come down." Jessica was sobbing dramatically. From the crowd, I added my own commentary. "She's not just a mistress, but the baby in her belly isn't even my brother's. And she has the nerve to threaten suicide. That's your brother's mistress? You're the sister-in-law, right? What happened? The baby isn't his." A neighbor immediately turned to me for the inside scoop. Others crowded around. Munching on sunflower seeds, I said, "Yep, my brother found out the baby isn't his, so they had a fight, and now she's threatening to jump." The neighbor grabbed a handful of my seeds and started cracking them. Oh my God, when the ex-wife finds out, she's going to die laughing. I glanced at the ex-wife next to me. She was cracking sunflower seeds, too. Everyone knew what was up. Jessica was about to climb down. "Just jump already," someone in the crowd yelled. "The baby's a bastard anyway. Might as well end it all." Damn, the neighbors were ruthless. In the crowd, it was impossible to tell who had shouted. Then others joined in. It was obvious Jessica's suicide attempt was pure theater. In a flash, she scrambled back down. The Facebook group lit up again, everyone gossiping that the mistress's baby wasn't my brother's. Whether he'd been cheated on or not before, he was now the town cuckold. People would point at him when he left the house. "Hey, that's the guy who got cheated on. The one who took a mistress to get a son, but the kid wasn't even his. That guy in Building 3, apartment 1203? I know him. So pathetic. I heard his ex-wife runs a company, and he got $30 million in the divorce. Ugh, what a disgusting cheater." My brother's face was so green, he didn't need a green hat to match. Jessica wasn't doing any better. When she went for walks, basically everyone in the community recognized her. She was a local celebrity. "Oh look, it's the mistress. The one who threatened to jump." the one carrying another man's baby. Ugh. She took forever to jump. If she'd actually done it and hurt our property values, I'd have accepted it. A homewrecker thinking about suicide? Don't make me laugh. It was all an act to get us to stop talking about her online. Stop bullying me, or I'll jump. Even the security guard at the front gate wouldn't open it for her if she forgot her key card. She complained to the property management office. They apologized to her face, but the second she turned around, the young women at the desk were gossiping. That's our community's famous mistress. You have no idea. She's a professional. Jessica was truly having a mental breakdown. I had to stifle my laughter when my mom told me all this. Of course, my parents weren't spared either. People in the community recognized them too. Oh look, it's the blind mother-in-law and the clueless father-in-law. The only normal one in that family is the sister. They're a combined 100+ years old and have less sense than a high schooler. My mother, ever the opportunist, now tried to get back in Charlotte's good graces, coming over every day to cook for her. Charlotte was a good person and didn't take her anger out on my mom. But I wasn't a good person. I sent my mom packing back to Jessica's place, telling her to go look after her new daughter-in-law, since she was about to pop. After being turned away a few times, my mom got the hint and stopped coming around. The day Jessica went into labor, my brother was stuck at the office with a deadline. My mom claimed my grandmother was sick and she had to go to the hospital to care for her. My dad didn't even bother with an excuse. He just didn't go. I heard Jessica had to sign all the hospital forms and pay the bills herself before giving birth. After the baby was born, my brother finally showed up. He took a sample of the baby's hair and blood. He wanted a DNA test. Jessica had a complete meltdown in the hospital, screaming that my brother was a heartless bastard, crying and causing a huge scene. And as luck would have it, someone in the hospital recognized Jessica. The mistress is having her baby, and they're doing a paternity test. Oh my God, I have to tell my husband, my best friend, my sister. And so, the hospital drama also went public. The quiet neighborhood Facebook group erupted again, feasting on the endless drama of my family. I had already left the group to save my sanity, but my dad was still in it. He finally couldn't take it anymore. He stormed over to Charlotte's house and started screaming at me. "You've spread our family's dirty laundry all over town. Aren't you ashamed? You're the ones doing these shameful things, and you're not embarrassed. Why should I be?" My dad slapped me across the face. His public image was the most important thing to him in the world. When Charlotte got home and saw my red, swollen cheek, her heart broke. She told me that, honestly, she'd gotten a sick satisfaction out of it all, but she didn't want me getting mixed up in their mess. It was just dragging me down. Charlotte didn't know how to thank me. She transferred $200,000 into my bank account. She said it was for my college tuition and living expenses. For the next few days, people in the Facebook group were still waiting for an update. So, is the baby his or not? Sister-in-law, are you there? What were the results? Is it his kid? The results hadn't come back yet, but Jessica had disappeared, and along with her, the $30 million my brother had gotten from Charlotte. Jessica had taken the money and run. Nobody knew where she went. She was just gone, but she didn't take her son. Before the DNA results were in, my brother and my parents couldn't just abandon the baby, so my mom was the one taking care of him. My brother put out ads, even offered a reward, trying to find her. Then the results came back. It wasn't his. The moment my brother saw the report, he fainted. I rushed over when my mom called me. It was Charlotte who drove me to the hospital. When my brother woke up and saw Charlotte standing there, he immediately fell to his knees in front of everyone and started begging for forgiveness. He said he was wrong, completely and utterly wrong. He claimed Jessica had tricked him, that he had always loved Charlotte. My heart pounded in my chest, terrified that Charlotte would actually forgive him. But she just looked at him coldly and said, "Kevin, do you really think this is repentance? No. The consequences of your mistake were just too high for you to handle. So now you're remembering the safety net you threw away. You abandoned your wife and daughter for that woman, took my money, and thought you could live happily ever after with your true love. Now the money's gone, she's gone, and the baby isn't yours. Suddenly you're remembering how good your life was with me. It's the stark difference in your circumstances that makes you regret cheating, not your conscience. If Jessica hadn't run off with that $30 million, you would never be here asking for my forgiveness. So save your crocodile tears. Don't embarrass yourself any further." Charlotte told me later that she felt an incredible sense of release that day. All the anger and humiliation she had bottled up for so long was finally gone. Seeing my brother's pathetic end, she felt a mix of pity for his weakness and satisfaction at his misfortune. The result of Charlotte's good mood was another $200,000 in my bank account. She said marrying my brother was the worst luck of her life, but meeting me was the best. She joked that she'd never met a sister-in-law so willing to betray her own family for the sake of justice. My final grades came in. Same as in my past life, I got into Northwood University. Charlotte said since I had the summer off, she was enrolling me in driving school. The day I left for college, Charlotte drove me there herself. It was in her new car, a Mercedes C-Class. She preferred SUVs and rarely bought sedans. When we got to campus, Charlotte handed me the keys. A gift for you, Maya. Congratulations on getting into Northwood. From now on, you're my fellow alum. You've worked so hard for so long. Have fun in college. After you graduate, you can come work at my company. It turned out Charlotte had also gone to Northwood. That made me even happier. After that, I changed how I addressed her. I stopped calling her sister-in-law. I just called her Charlotte. By the time I graduated, Charlotte's company had gone public. After the divorce, she was done with romance. She poured all her energy into her career, and her business grew bigger and bigger. Every time she was happy, she'd deposit money into my account. I'm not bragging, but on campus, I was definitely one of the rich kids. But I donated most of the money. There were still so many people in the world who were hungry, cold, sick without access to medicine, or who wanted to learn but couldn't afford an education. I did what I could, my small contribution to society. As for my parents, they came to find me several times, trying to get me to patch things up between Charlotte and my brother. I told them, if that's what you're here for, don't even start. When you're old, I'll take care of you. But don't ask me for anything else. Besides trying to play matchmaker, they were, of course, there to borrow money from my brother. Kevin had been fired from his old job. I heard the CEO had a crush on Charlotte. Now he couldn't find work that was good enough for him, and he wouldn't stoop to anything less. He spent years doing nothing, just lying around at home, becoming more and more pathetic. He had only one mission in life, to find Jessica and get his $30 million back. He eventually found her. But Jessica had already blown through all the money. When my brother heard that not a single penny was left, he snapped. In a fit of rage, he stabbed her to death. Then he went home, took Jessica's son, turned on the gas, and ended both their lives. From that day on, my father hated me. He said that if it weren't for me, our family would never have fallen apart. He disowned me, for real this time, even taking out an ad in the local paper to make it official. Back in my hometown, I became known as the cold, heartless, and ungrateful daughter. I didn't care about my reputation. If I had to do it all over again, I would still choose to help my sister-in-law. You can't live without a moral compass. You can't bite the hand that feeds you. That's what my parents taught me when I was a child.